Good evening. Welcome to PoliticIt Podcast. I'm John Johnson. We're here with Sheriff Ryan Arbon.
John.
Great to have you, Sheriff. It's been a little while since we've gotten together.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So, let's talk a little bit about you to begin with. What got you in this role, do you think? What was it that really to motivate you? But you were in law enforcement before, right?
Yeah, I'm sure you're speaking about Sheriff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sheriff was, from the beginning, has never been on my path. But to promote, to move up has always been a goal of mine. And there was about eight and a half years ago, there was a couple of local leaders that reached out to me and asked me to consider running for sheriff. And I'd only met former Sheriff Terry Thompson twice. Hello, how are you doing?
So you'd really never thought about becoming a sheriff?
No, no, I haven't. And so anyway, there was speculation that Terry was not going to run a third term, and they asked me, and initially I said no. I didn't want to run for sheriff just because I wanted it. I feel like something like this is of a calling of nature, or if you feel bound and determined to make some good changes. That's just my mindset.
Right.
And so I can't remember the exact time and date, but there was a letter to the editor or something, or some sort of announcement that Terry Thompson was not going to run, and so the calls came back.
So people called you again and said,
it was several people, and said, hey, we think that you can do some good things. We heard what you did up in Perry City, which is very small.
So you were the chief in Perry City, right?
Just for about 2.5 years. And it was a small city. There was a lot of changes that were made, good changes. And it was all modeled around public expectation. And it was good. It was a short stint there. I just found out a few weeks ago that the progress that was made continued, and it's a small agency, but they are accredited as a law enforcement agency. So yeah, it's a great group, great team. They have a great chief, Scott Hansey, who's up there, and they're doing really good.
So did he take over when you left Perry?
He did, yeah.
So was he one of your officers then?
He was a sergeant when I was there, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, great leader, great kid. I see him as a kid because he's younger than me, but got his head on his shoulders. He's got integrity. He knows what he's doing, and I'm just proud of them and that whole group.
So what got you into law enforcement?
Well, it's interesting. It was former Sheriff Craig Dearden, and it was Rex Cragen from Pleasant View. He's a Pleasant View chief, and Tom Lauder, who worked for Pleasant View. And when I was in high school, I did a couple of ride-alongs, and it was cool. It was fun. There was an incident on a ride-along that I just thought, I want to do this. And so it was fun. And so from then, I've just had it in my mind, that's probably what I ended up doing. And it's been good. It's been tough. It's been a hard road. It's not easy in this business. As you know, Senator, that years ago, the retirement used to be 20 years.
Right.
And it's changed to 25. I think it needs to go back to 20 because it's mentally taxing. It's physically taxing. And the law enforcement that works, from small agencies to where crime maybe not as much as the other big cities, it's tough. And we have great support in Weber County and throughout the state. But it's tough. And people need a break. And we don't always get a break sometimes, as you know, our schedules and challenges. Right. But I can't imagine us doing our job without the people that we have.
So what's it like coming from Perry, it's a fairly small town, to being over the Weber County Sheriff's Department?
Well, I started with the Sheriff's Office in '97. I was a bailiff for a few months, and then I moved to Missouri. And when I was there, I was a marshal for the state and got my bachelor's degree. So
that's kind of like our highway patrol then?
No, it's more like a bailiff type fit with a little. I got to travel and do some security and transport for some high security.
So that's what the marshal would do
for the state of Missouri. Yes.
Okay.
And it was I was on the traveling team, and that was a great experience. Learned a lot. Got my degree, and then came back home, Clearfield City, for about 14 years, and then chief And so Clearfield was about 32 officers, and then I went down to 4 when I got
Perry.
there. Yeah, and then we made some goals, got city council. They saw the vision. We made some changes, some positions were added, and we met the desire and the expectation of the public. And I think when I left, there was 6 or 7 full-time. And then, with those changes, I got the calls to be sheriff and to run.
So
Yeah.
how big is the sheriff's department in Weber County?
So it fluctuates, as you know, but I think staffing levels allow us about 350, 365, somewhere in there. We're not there. We're down. I think 8 or 10.
So has it gotten harder to recruit people?
It's tough. Here's some numbers that we discussed today in our command staff meeting. Before I came to office, we started looking at numbers, and there was about 500 to 600 that had applied for the sheriff's office in 18. And then we started seeing it go up. And then last year, we had just over 1,500 total applicants. But the dynamics and the way law enforcement has drastically changed, as you know. It's hard. I meet with the Utah sheriffs monthly, and I go to conferences, and we talk to a lot of other sheriffs and many police agencies, including sheriffs. They're experiencing turnover rate. They're experiencing low numbers. A couple of sheriffs back east, we're down as 40 and 50% on staffing. It's tough, and the applicants that we're getting to, Senator. We're not getting the quality of applicants we used to. When I first got into this profession, you'd have 50 to 200 people for a couple of positions. And now we're lucky to get 20 to 30 for a couple of positions, or even more. It's just different. And as much as I told you 1,500 applicants, we could hire, most agencies can fill all these positions. But the good police agencies throughout Weber County, including the state, we have standards, and we're not going to go below those standards. And we have high standards, and we won't just take anybody, as it should be. That's the public expects, and that's what we do.
So even if you're down a little bit, unless you get the right applicants, you're not going to just fill a job.
We're not, and this could be anybody or any group, but you could bring on someone else's problem from some other agency. You can have those that just don't have that standard, that desire. They don't have that mental capacity or toughness. And we don't want to hire just anybody, and then they become an issue. And then the supervisors are focused more on managing than they are doing their work.
Yeah, there's kind of that balance between being tough and being accessible to the public.
Yes.
and being a good public servant. Right?
Yeah, we have a saying at our office that we want tough people, but we don't want mean people. Public expects us to be fair, but also tough, because there's times you have to be tough.
Right.
Because the people that we typically work with, they could be mean and they could be tough too, and we deal with that all the time, day in and day out.
So you can be tough and still respectful of people's rights.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we're going to take a break, and we'll come right back.
Okay, thank you.
Tired of media bias? Frustrated by political noise? PoliticIt.com cuts through the clutter, giving you real facts, clear analysis, and unbiased insight on the issues that matter most. Stay informed, stay empowered. Whether it's elections, policy changes, or breaking news, we've got you covered. No spin, no agendas, just truth you can trust. Visit PoliticIt.com today, because informed citizens shape the future. PoliticIt.com, where politics meets clarity.
Welcome back to PoliticIt. We've got Sheriff Arbon with us. And, it's really nice to have you, Sheriff. And I want to talk a little bit about the jail. We had this bond that came up that didn't get approved by voters.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, there are serious issues that you have to deal with at the jail.
Yeah, through the NIBRS report, just to give you an example, that Weber County is one of the highest crime rate counties in the state. We are 0.67 per thousand, or you can draw a contrast to a lot of the other counties that are right around 0.3 or 0.33 per thousand. It's busy up here, and we have a lot of responsibility. the tracks and the trends of our jail population was increasing. And as you know, we have the older facility, Kiesel, it's hundreds and hundreds of thousands every year to keep it updated. Some of the parts and maintenance items in there, they're outdated, they're old, we keep band-aiding. We needed to make some changes. We talked to the public. We asked what their expectation was. We looked at 25 and 50 years down the road, what the jail and its program should look like. We met with architects and we met with some professionals to see what our options were. And at the end, we came up and presented to the commission what we thought was the best, not the Band-Aid fix for today, but I don't want to take a problem that I'm currently dealing with and pass it on to the next sheriff and so forth. And so we presented a couple of solutions to our county commission. We felt, my executive staff and I and our other employees, that it seemed reasonable to go to a bond. As you know, bonds,
Right.
you get the money and then you pay them off, and once it's done, it's over with. You no longer collect it. And so the commission was, do they raise taxes to cover it? Do we do a bond? Revenue bonds, there's other types, tax increase bond. And so I remember in the meeting, I told the commissioner, they said, how are we going to pay for this? And I said, I want to take it to the public, because the best partnership, especially when you got to raise taxes, is
Right.
to include the public, and it could have been easy for them just to as the legislative body of our county to just fix that rate and do it. But we wanted the partnership, and most people know that the bond failed, and that's what was defeated, and that's okay. But what I learned through that process and virtually my whole career as sheriff, this is not my office. It's not the county commissioner's office. It's the public's office. It's your office, John.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so if they say no, that's okay, because the sheriff's office, we serve the public. And so we had a plan B, we have a plan C. And so we've been working on that. And part of Plan B, which has recently been approved or tentatively approved, is the county commission has allowed us some funds to draw the plans up. And Plan B is the medical and mental health wing, and not the other stuff that was
And that's
included.
something that you're almost forced into, right?
Yeah, it's law, it's federal law, it's state law. We have to provide, and you know this through you being senator and the bills that you work. And one thing I do know, and I do appreciate this, just to make sure I forget, you are a great advocate of law enforcement, and I'm very appreciative. So are the Utah sheriffs. And you see the crimes and you see the reporting that's shared with you. And as you know, we have the opioid epidemic that snuck up on us, right, in the early 2000s. And that's been a serious challenge for all of law enforcement. And then you got the mental health crisis, which we've seen a lot in the last 8, 10, 12 years. And you compound those things, they're hard to deal with, they're hard to work with. You got to find a solution to work and manage with those, especially if they're arrested. When they come to my facility, the 12th Street Jail, we have to manage them, and it's a challenge. And when the 12th Street facility was built, or even the old Kiesel, there was no plans of opioid problems and mental
Right.
health. And so we've had to accommodate and adjust. But the plans are getting towards, they're almost finished.
Now you're going to pick up some funds out of that opioid settlements, right?
Yeah.
Which actually makes sense, given that that's part of the problem, right?
It is. And as you know, many counties and states across the United States sued those pharmaceutical companies. And there was some money that was awarded. And Weber County Commission, I just want to express my gratitude and appreciation for them to use this, and also the great work of our recent treasurer, John Bond, who worked diligently to find a solution. And of the opioid settlement, they're going to use $10 million of that, of the public's money, right? Your money, my money, the residents, this county's
So you'll have $30 million then on this
Yes.
facility, and this will be mainly be the mental health wing.
Yes.
That has really been long overdue.
Oh, long overdue. 20 from the county. The county has been really good about saving capital project money, and then 10 million. And there's going to be no tax, no bond, no nothing to get this completed. In fact, we hope to start digging and building this time next year.
Oh, very good.
Yes. This will also, the mental health facility, medical mental health, will also free up a lot of the bed space that's being used in our 12th Street facility now. So this is a welcome addition.
Yeah.
Need it.
So this will help alleviate some of that
Yes.
overcrowding that you have
Yep.
in the jail, right?
Yes.
So another issue I think that's pretty hot on the minds of the public are, well, what about ICE? What about this whole, people being deported and stuff like that? What's going on with that you can tell us?
Well, the border's been increasingly a problem, as you call. I've shared on our Facebook page that I had the opportunity to go down to the border last May and saw it firsthand with Representative Wilcox, some of my staff. And this was a request that came from our own residents. And it was needed, and there were some concerns. And so Biden, candidly, in my opinion, didn't really care a whole lot about the border. We expect, the public expects the federal government to protect us. And at the time, the policies that came down, from what I've learned from Biden's administration and those leaders, it wasn't a priority. And so when the borders were open, as they were, there's a lot of spillover. Most people, I went to New York, Florida, Chicago, Illinois, and California. And we do have some that have been here. We've heard in the news repeatedly about the problems down in Harriman, Utah, with the Venezuelans and some of the gangs and the challenges down there. And so what do? And so candidly, I'm just thankful that Trump came in. Remember hearing legislation need to be passed to secure the border, and that just wasn't true. It takes a president, and Trump has virtually shut down the border. And so we're seeing some relief from that. But when Trump was campaigning, he made some promises, and so far he's following through. How it directly impacts Utah, it's a little bit different than what we're seeing in the news. I can tell you that the ICE leaders in the Utah region or area there's been some indirect conversations, but nothing specific about what they want, what they're going to do. We have some great local ICE agents in the northern Utah region, which is, I believe, Davis County and north. We have a great relationship. We meet with him monthly about the ICE and what's going on and what they're doing. But as of right now, it's business as usual, Senator. Yeah. There's no big sweeping raids.
You're not going around knocking on doors, deporting people,
no,
right?
We're not. And so the next question that I'm sure the public would want to know, are there illegal immigrants here that should be deported? Absolutely. We know that. And
they're mainly going after people that have, coming here illegally is violating the law, right?
Yes.
But these are people that are involved in other crimes as well, right?
Yeah, and so a lot of times I get a question of what are we doing? And so I do not have the authority from the feds to make those kind of arrests. But when there is an illegal immigrant that's arrested on a state crime and they're taken to the 12th Street facility, they're processed. And through that process, they are identified. They're identified if they're from another state, if they live locally or wherever they're from, if they're an illegal immigrant. Once they're identified, then we notify ICE to let them know the status, and they determine if they're going to come pick them up or not. But when an individual is arrested on state crimes, we treat them like we do every other criminal that commits a state crime. They go through the process. They go to court, they do all it, they get summoned to court.
They're given due process just like everybody else.
Absolutely. So the question is, what are you doing when they are illegal? Well, that's when we contact ICE. Like I said earlier, we have a great relationship with the local supervisor and his team. and it's business as usual, and that's what we're doing. And so there have been some pickups lately, but again, business as usual.
Right.
So.
So we're about out of time. Any concluding thoughts you might have?
Yeah, there's a few, but you know, I want to make sure that our public, especially Weber County, that you know we have some fantastic law enforcement locally, and I love working with the chiefs. The Og Chief, Jake Subi, is phenomenal. So are the other chiefs. We have a really good working relationship. And I can tell you unequivocally that our number one priority is criminal justice, public safety. We hold them accountable. We make our arrests. We issue our citations. We treat everybody the same. And like you said earlier, they all get their due process. And when it comes to these accidental threats that we're hearing about, the illegal immigrants, we are doing what we are authorized to do, we're able to do, that state law allows us to do, and we hope to continue our partnership with the feds and with Trump and his new policies and with Tom Homan. We're seeing things that are happening in a larger movement, if you will, operations in other states. It'll come to Utah. I just don't know when. I don't know what it looks like. They haven't involved us, and it hasn't hit that peak or that level yet locally, but it's coming. And earlier, well, maybe I didn't mention this, but there are removal orders that have been already signed by the judge nationwide. There's about 1.5 million. And I know
Nationwide.
Nationwide, yes. And I do know that they're going after what they have determined viewed as toughest criminals, the meanest, the most aggravated criminals. And we can see that happen here sometime in the future. I just don't know when. But day to day, we're operating the same. Day to day, our priorities are always about protecting the public. And we're very keen and aware of the victims, and we want to support and protect the victims. We do it all the time. And we couldn't do our job, Senator, without our phenomenal partnership we have with the residents of Weber County. And I'm just so glad that we live in such a great community with such great people that live with us and we work with. We go to church with them. We go to schools. Our kids go to the same schools. We go shopping. We see them all the time. We got a great group here, and I'm just so thankful that we have them.
Well, we appreciate you, Sheriff. Sheriff Ryan Arbon. You've done a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
And I know that you've gotten a lot of good relationship with the public, and people trust you. And so it's nice to have you in office. We appreciate you.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. Thank you, and Kevin, and I love your new studio. This is really cool, and you do a lot, and I don't think that you're recognized for a lot, but we got good public servants on the Fed, state, and local levels, and again, we have great citizens. Love working with them.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Sheriff Arbon. See you guys next week.